It. Once upon a time, in a small, forgotten town nestled between rolling hills and a whispering forest, lived a young woman named Ilara. She wasn't a princess or a sorceress, but she had a gift that was, in its own way, just as magical. Ilara was a mender of lost things. Not just torn clothes or broken pottery, but things that were truly lost. A child's favorite teddy bear that had vanished on a family trip. A musician's forgotten melody, or an old man's cherished memory of his first love. Her shop was a curious little place, tucked away on Cobblestone Lane, with a crooked sign that simply read, Alara's Emporium for the Lost and Found. The inside was a wonderland of mismatched items. Shelves overflowed with single gloves, dusty music boxes, and faded photographs. Each item had a story, a history of being loved and then lost, and Ilara knew them all. One grey Tuesday, when the rain was pattering a soft rhythm on the window pane, a little boy named Leo walked into her shop. His eyes were red from crying, and he clutched a small, empty birdcage. He looked no older than 7. "Hello there," Ilara said, her voice as warm as a cup of hot cocoa. "What have you brought me today?" Leo sniffled, holding up the cage. "It's for Pip," he whispered. His lost Ilara knelt down to his level. "Pip is your bird." Leo nodded vigorously. "He's a canary. He sings the prettiest songs, all yellow and bright, like a little sun. I left his cage open by the window this morning, just for a second, and he flew away. I've looked everywhere." Fresh tears welled up in his eyes. Ilara's heart ached for the little boy. "Losing a friend is the hardest thing," she said softly. "But don't you worry, we'll find a way to bring him home. First, I need you to do something very important for me. Can you tell me about Pip? Not just what he looks like, but what he loves. What's his favorite song to sing in the morning?" Leo's face, though still sad, lit up a little. "He loves the sound of the old town clock when it chimes at sunrise. He always sings his loudest then, and he loves the smell of my mum's blueberry muffins. When she bakes, he chirps and dances on his perch." "Perfect," Ilara smiled. "Those are the most important clues." While Leo sat on a stool, munching on a cookie Ilara had given him, she got to work. She didn't use a map or a compass. Her tools were different. She took a tiny silver bell from a jar, a single dried blueberry from another, and a spool of golden thread. She tied the blueberry to the bell with the thread, creating a tiny fragrant pendulum. Closing her eyes, Ilara held the pendulum over a large, worn map of the town that lay on her counter. She didn't think about streets or houses. Instead, she thought about the chiming of the town clock at dawn, the warm, sweet scent of baking muffins, and the feeling of a tiny, bright sun flitting through the air. She hummed a soft tune, a melody that felt like a sunrise. The little bell began to swing, slowly at first, then with more purpose. It swung back and forth, pointing towards the edge of the map, towards the whispering woods. "He's gone into the woods," Ilara announced, opening her eyes. "He was probably looking for other birds to sing with." Leo's face fell. "But the woods are so big. We'll never find him." "We won't have to look for him," Ilara said, with a mysterious twinkle in her eye. "We're going to call him back." She explained her plan. They needed to create a call that only Pip would understand. They returned to Leo's house, which was just around the corner. With his mother's permission, they baked a fresh batch of blueberry muffins, filling the air with their irresistible scent. Then, as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the town, Ilara and Leo carried a plate of warm muffins and a small, wind-up music box to the edge of the whispering woods. Ilara opened the music box. It didn't play a grand symphony, but a simple, clear chime that sounded remarkably like the town clock. As the chimes filled the evening air, mingling with the sweet smell of blueberries, Ilara told Leo, "Now think about Pip. Think about how much you love him. Picture him flying back to you. Call him not with your voice, but with your heart." They stood there in silence for what felt like an eternity. The woods were quiet except for the gentle music and the rustle of leaves. Leo squeezed his eyes shut, his whole being focused on one thought. Pip, please come home. And then a faint sound, a tiny, hesitant chirp from deep within the trees. It came again, closer this time. A flash of yellow darted between the branches. Leo's eyes flew open. "Pip," he gasped. The little canary flew out of the woods, circling their heads once before landing gently on Leo's outstretched finger. He chirped a happy, triumphant song, nuzzling against the boy's cheek. Leo was so happy he couldn't speak. He just held his little friend, tears of joy streaming down his face. He looked at Ilara, his eyes full of wonder and gratitude. How did you do that? Are you magic?" Ilara just smiled and packed up her music box. "The real magic, Leo," she said, "was your love for Pip. It's the strongest homing signal in the world. I just helped it find its way." From that day on, the legend of Ilara, the mender of lost things, grew. People came from neighboring towns, not just with lost objects, but with lost hopes and forgotten dreams. And Ilara, with her strange and wonderful tools, helped them find what they were looking for. She taught them that sometimes, to find something that is lost, you don't need to search with your eyes. You need to remember with your heart, call out with love, and listen for the answer. Her little shop on Cobblestone Lane became more than just a place for lost things. It became a place where people found a little piece of themselves again. And as for Pip, he never flew away again. But every morning, when the town clock chimed, he would sit on Leo's shoulder and sing his most beautiful song, a song of being lost and then found, a song of coming home. Thank you so much for listening to the story today. I hope it brought a little bit of warmth and magic to your day. If you enjoyed it and want to hear more stories to help you practice your English, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps a lot. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.